Ba 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 da ba ba da ba 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 ba. It's Thursday. It's the afternoon. It's Mark Draws. Mark Draws? Mark Draws in the afternoon working title. Hello, streamers. How is everyone? We have new followers. Cracksaw. Jess. Jess. And the director Gavardo himself. Thank you for smashing that follow button. On today of all days, Thursday, stream day. I don't think Twitter is working. I can't do a tweet. Oh, it's working. Cool. Today I am drawing the rest of my fan art suggestions. You know who they are. You've got the Beetlejuice himself. Here. Spider-Man's Peter Parker right there. Little delay on the iPad, that should be fine. You got the big dog, Godzilla. You got Alf. Steamed clams. Steamed hams. And a Garth. I thought I'd do original Garth, because original Garth always makes me laugh, because he's like a big, I don't know, trash cat. I also quite like that Godzilla and Garfield are quite similar in their hunch. I am still not allowed to play music on Twitch, so we have the Wii music, which I think might not be alright. I'm gonna have to turn it off in case I get a slapped wrist. Maybe I'll just turn it down. Turn it down. So the stream demons don't get me. And I've forgotten what screen I'm on. There we are. Cool. Let's just mute that. It's gonna get annoying otherwise. Cool. Stream manager. Cool. All still new to me. I've got to decide what to listen to. Cool, right, let's do some drawing. So I penciled all this in Procreate, but I'm inking in Clip Studio, because Clip Studio is my favourite. And Procreate is good for penciling. I find I get more enjoyment inking in Clip Studio. which has just had a big update. So if something goes wrong, and I don't know why, you'll have to cut me some slack. Normally I draw on my drawing board as well, but I'm just drawing on my little iPad case. Beetlejuice I've only seen once or twice, which seems to annoy people. I think I only saw it for the first time a few years back. I remember the cartoon more. I don't know why. Sometimes with like those like 80s properties, because everything got made into a cartoon, I saw the cartoon more than I saw the actual like original movies. So I tried to do like a little bit of a mix between the cartoon and the live action. And I couldn't remember if there was a comic. Was there a Beetlejuice comic? Someone can look that up and then tell me. I think I was getting confused between Edward Scissorhands comic that came out a few years back. Gavin's a recent Beetlejuice watcher as well. It's one of those films where you say you haven't watched it, and then people are like incredibly mad at you. How? What? Huh? I hadn't seen like The Lion King until recently, like the old one, which was mind blowing for a lot of people. But it's fun because you get to experience that, you know, with someone for the first time. Apologies as always for spinning the canvas around. That's to protect my weak wrists. I did some exercise this morning. Strangely, I've been doing more exercise now. The government has told me I can do an hour of exercise outside. So since the government have told me to do it, I have been exercising more. I attempted some push-ups earlier, as well as all my like, you know, stretches for my arms and my legs. But yeah, I've just been walking around nursing very, very sore limbs. I don't know how long I'll keep it up. Gavin remembers that South Park made the joke that Beetlejuice was Tim Burton's last original idea. Well, fair. Certainly recently. Woof. Ken, thanks. Yeah, I'm working out. I don't want to brag. I am trying to grow a beard, which I'm still not sold by. But like, I feel like during this time, if you grow a beard and it looks rubbish, you can just kind of go, it's because of the quarantine. There were 6 Beetlejuice comics. They were based on the cartoon rather than the film. Gavin, you're my fact-checking cuz. Thank you. Were they published by Marvel by any chance, or Star? Star was Marvel's young reader line. It had stuff like the Ewoks comics and Fraggle Rock, Muppet Babies, maybe. Gavin's like my guy in the chair, like Ned from the Spider-Man MCU films. I should make him a mod, but I don't know what a mod does really. Harvey Comics, there we go. Harvey Comics, were they the Richie Rich people? And Casper? I haven't decided if I'm going to do this in full colour, if I'm going to zip tone it like I did the other ones. I feel like screen tone just makes everything look better. Like, you could do a really rubbish drawing, and if you just throw some screen tone on it, it just looks great. It does feel weird not playing music. Um, Trying to figure a way of, I don't know, tricking Twitch. I thought about if I played video game music, would they care? Like if I just had like, I don't know, the Scott Pilgrim soundtrack playing in the background. Because that's a video game. That's, you know, that was a game that people can stream. I guess it's broadcasting, isn't it? So we all just have to sit in silence. If you've got any questions, throw them in the chat. Let's try and keep it. I don't know. Keep me talking whilst I draw. I was right about the Harvey comics. Richie Rich and Casper. Were Harvey creations. I think I see some of them at Comic Mart sometimes. What did I have for lunch? I had a tuna sandwich, Ken. It was a tuna sandwich. We're at that stage now where we have to go food shopping. Which will be happening tomorrow. At a lovely 7 AM, I think we're going to try and go. Okay, cool. My phone is now playing 311. What have I done to deserve that? The main reason of Harvey Comics' downfall was because they sued Columbia Pictures over the Ghostbusters logo and lost. You go after the Ghostbusters, you're going to get burnt. Ken's going to try a big Tesco after tea tonight. Ken, what's for your tea? What are you having? You having a pie? You got like an emergency pie? I don't know if I like those dots. Let's get rid of them. And say hi. Oh, stir fry, the old classic. Say hi to Sarah from me as well. Harvey Comics are weird. I don't know who has the license for all that stuff now. Because like Richie Rich and Casper, they're not like small properties. I wonder which, I don't know, holdings company ended up with a license. And can I get it? Can I get the license? Someone wants me to do a flip. I can use your imagination. Is this a wind up because we're Northern? Yeah, it was because you're Northern, Ken. But I imagine you do have an emergency pie in the freezer, because everyone does. Yeah, we got stopped the other week going into both Lidl and Tesco. Not to give you guys information about where we shop, but we get half hour shopping from Lidl and half from Tesco. I'm not sure we're going to keep that up because the last shop took us 5 hours. Yeah, and they stopped. They didn't stop us, but essentially I said that I was shopping for my dad, and because my dad can't get out at the moment. So they let us in, but it's generally one person. I'm not sure if Robin wants to do that. I love her dearly, so we might split up the shopping. we're not getting separation. Although I did ask her to marry me in January and she said yes. But God knows when that's going to happen now. Didn't mean to scare there, Ken. Hopefully your heart is back and working. So I'm joining Peter Parker now. So Spider-Man's like my favourite, like, superhero, I reckon. And I wanted to draw him like as a young kid with these big gnarly eyebrows. But I did try it. I don't know if I can show you. There we go. Let's see if I can show you. Yes, that one. Okay. Try and bring that up on the screen. Grumpy Steve Ditko sort of style Peter Parker, because I do like drawing grumpy teenagers. So that was my first attempt at Peter Parker, and then I thought, no, we'll go down like a more like recent sort of incarnation, because no one's going to understand I come draw this nerd. My pal James asked for a Peter Parker, and he has a really cool original art collection where he commissions people to draw Ditko, Peter Parkers and Spider-Mans. Spider-Mans? Spider-Persons. But yeah, I decided not to go down that route. Sorry, James. Thank you for the congrats, Gav. Yeah, the engagement is a new thing where we don't know if we're telling. Like, you don't want to make a big song and dance about it. I've been playing the PS4 Spider-Man game again recently because I completed it, but then there was like DLC and like New Game Plus. I don't quite understand New Game Plus. But the game itself, I thought, was like one of the best like Spider-Man adaptations. Even with the non-stop getting backpacks. Ah, cool. So it's like playing the game again with extra steps. Yeah, I didn't know if it was like, I don't know, harder. I've still got loads to do. There's so much to do in that game. To the point where I'm just like, I've got other PlayStation games to play. I just play Spider-Man. Like I got I've got God of War to play. Have not even turned it on. Ah, it's Jake. Jake Harold. Ah, great! You're in the stream, bud, or in the chat rather. Ah, how you doing? Did your video game trailer go live? These are. This is a question I was thinking as I said it out loud. Hello to Trapshot. How you doing this afternoon? And if you're not subscribed, if you could not subscribe, if you don't follow the channel, if you could give me a cheeky follow, because I'm trying to reach 50 followers, which is very small in the Twitch world, but it means I can sort of level up a bit quicker. So I can start taking subs and stuff. So if you don't mind giving me a follow, that would be wonderful. I promise not to spam your inbox with notifications. It's a long time coming, Jake. You've been working on that game for what seems like half a decade, 5-6 years? I haven't watched it yet, man, but I'm looking forward to checking it out. It's called Hollow Fist, right? 4 years, man. Well, I know about working on one thing for 4 or 5 years. Oh man, I'm so proud of you, man. So good to see you on the other side of it, or nearly on the other side of it. Yeah, building that Twitch or the community in Twitch is, I don't know, it's like any social media, you just gotta like start again. And it's just, I don't know, not boring, just a little bit infuriating. It's like, oh, hi everyone, now come this way. Thanks for the wizard log, for the follow. Who is proud of all the things I've been doing. It's really interesting to see me, grow in your own world again. Yeah, a bit. It's a bit like starting again, really. Not to keep going on about that point, but it's learning how to flex those muscles. For those who haven't been in the chats or the streams recently, let's see if I can show you this. I'll make my screen bigger. I've been keeping I have to remember this is flipped, so there we go. I've been keeping like a record of all the doodles I've been doing in Procreate and Clip for my comic Chloe Noonan. And then I print them out and then stick them in a book because it gives me more to do. Yeah, they're all here. The gang's all here. There's only 2 characters so far, but I'm thinking about doing a Patreon. Hopefully launch in May. So it really does throw me off. It's mirrored. But But yeah, where you can see all them. Yeah, there's quite a few in there. So I've just been doing that really, like kind of getting to grips of how these characters look and stuff, and what clothes they wear. It does look like a top secret dossier, yeah. Yeah, the costumes are there so I can just grab quickly. So when I was drawing Rick and Morty, I never had to think about that stuff because they just got like each character has one costume. So I never had to really think about like different clothes, you know, depending on the weather. So what am I trying to say? Yeah, so doing them in the sketchbook just means I can get to them a bit quicker. And god damn it, Spider-Man's costume is so insanely difficult to figure out. I might have to, yeah, start again. Sorry, stream fans. Do a smaller brush for it. People are into the idea of a Patreon. Me too. Yeah, I've got some notes sort of taped to my wall of what I would like to do, so it wouldn't be like mega expensive. But there'd be a few different grades really that you can choose from. I'd like to do some like Patreon only streams. I'd like to offer commissions as well. I really want to get back into the commission game. I've got a couple that I need to finish that I've been promising. Gavin asks, what was the initial idea that created Chloe Noonan? Well, I have a friend called Tara Noonan, and essentially I was joking around one day and I said, God, could you imagine if like you were like you had to like save the world from like monsters, like just how funny would that be? Because you can't run, like not that she's unfit, but like it kind of like sparked the imagination of like, what if like someone who didn't have superpowers and was generally a bit like shrug huffy about like having to do the job, what if they were in charge of like saving the world? So that's the route I went down. With the new stuff I've been working on, I've been sort of like trying to dial that back a little bit so she has like some sort of strength, because otherwise I'm not sure where the story is. You can only have her be grumpy and huffy for like a fixed amount of time before that gets old. I say that as if I've like written like loads. It's literally just scraps of paper at the moment. But it's cool to be back in that world. I really enjoy it. I really like it. It's such a different like way of thinking. Like, because when I was working on Rick and Morty, not to dismiss it because I'm still working on them, just less frequently. A lot of the work was already done for me. So if I wanted a gun to draw, I could just type in Rick and Morty gun, and one of the prop designers would have the entire collection on there of all the props that they designed. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, that means I can just take from there and stuff. So it's nice to be able to stretch the like fort muscle a bit more with Noonan. And I'm starting to use like other like tools as well. Like I started using SketchUp quite recently, which is a Google thing, or was a Google thing. I'm not sure if it still is. Where you can create models. I think Jake will probably know about this. And I didn't realise how much of a help that would be. Trapshot has asked, maybe you could do drawing tutorials on Patreon. Yes, maybe. I don't think I'm a naturally good drawer, so I don't know what I could teach you. I've been watching some. I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name properly. Is it Will Sliney? Slinny? He's a Marvel artist who's drawn like a lot of the Spider-Man spin-offs and some Star Wars stuff. And he was actually on BBC News. Like they did like a little report on his streaming because he's essentially trying to do like a drawing club for kids, which is really cool. And like he can properly draw. Like he's talking about muscles and how they work and stuff. Yeah, it's super inspiring. So maybe. Yeah, SketchUp is ancient, and I found an email that I sent to myself. I think either 2 years or a year ago from that I sent to myself because John Allison recommended it again. He said you should really try SketchUp, and I think it was like 365 days until I actually got around to actually using it. And everyone else has been like using it for years. I think McKelvey uses it as well. I think he swears by it. Yeah. When I had to switch over to digital, a part of it was the deadlines, but it was mainly because I couldn't quite get what I wanted to do when I was drawing traditionally. So like more dynamic angles and positions and stuff, and like just trying to draw it, and having the safety net of going, oh this didn't work, but I can just delete it or I can edit it without it taking like an afternoon to redraw it. But no, I'm so glad I did it. And the iPad is cheap-ish. It's still expensive, but it was a cheaper way than going full Cintiq. I mean, it was still a lot of money, but it's such a good investment. I do miss drawing traditionally. I've spoken about this a few times. I think I'd like to get into the stage where I maybe pencil digitally and then ink traditionally. I've seen a few people do that, like Faith Erin Hicks. I think she's really good. It is a shame about the Clip Studio subscription. Yeah, it, I see it as it's a write-off for me because I use it so much. But I mean, you do have to put down the money to use it, and it's miles better than the Photoshop app because the Photoshop app on here is poo. And Procreate's fine, but I still find it weird that the brushes are all anti-alias. I mean, the thing with Photoshop is that they said that they want to do the full Photoshop experience on the app, and then they just didn't do it like straight away, and it just put me off using it. I was like, I'm not bothering with this. Not when like Clip and Procreate are like great out of the gate. Some people in the chat are talking about teaching. I did some teaching. I used to teach at university level. I used to teach comics, only for a little while, and it was fine. I taught like a university elective, who it was like your options. You would choose to go into like photography or illustration, comics, whatever. So a lot of them weren't naturally born artists, and that was always a struggle because they were like, "Oh, I can't draw. I'm only here because I didn't get my first choice." It was always like I remember the photographers always having a real struggle, so I was always sort of like saying to them, "Well, make a comic out of your photos. Just think about it like as a storytelling technique. You don't have to draw well. It's just about understanding how a story's told." It was fine. I don't know if I'd go back to doing that. I'd rather teach comics properly. Maybe I could do that on my Patreon. Yeah, I've not tried the animation tool in Clip Studio, but I'm sure I will in 4 years' time. When I send an email to myself and I'll read it. Several years after sending it. Ken says it could be like the 2000 AD photo stories of a bloke in a rubber fog mask. I've not read them. What is the name of those comics? Those type of comics? Does it begin with an F? I'm going to look that up. They are called... That's it, Fumetti. Fumetti comics. Fumetti. Yeah. A big thing in the 90s and the 80s. Well, no, probably more 90s. The most popular of which would be, sexy ladies with speech balloons. Gav remembers my story about lecturing from Elibisms. Elibisms is the one thing that I sometimes forget if I start telling a story that people already know it because it's in the book. That happens so much in real life. My friends are like, "Yeah, we know. We get it." Elibisms and the very first bunch of Chloe Noonan comics. I've got them for sale at the moment on my Gumroad. There's a link on my Twitter, or you just go to gumroad.com/Marc Ellaby, I think, where you can download the ebooks for free, or pay what you want. I'm going to try and pronounce this. Whipped Up Lax has asked me, could I give a really quickly? So could you really quickly give me some your thoughts on my work? Probably not right now because I'm drawing, and if anything from the last stream taught me is that this takes about 2 hours to get these things inked. If you've got maybe a couple of pages, you could always throw them my way on Twitter. Or if you've got just general questions about like how to make comics or whatever, or how to break into the industry, I can try and answer them here. But I've got to get going on these drawings a little bit. Just because it took me so long to do the last lot. We're trying to implement like a really strict like day schedule at the moment, me and my fiance, or my fiance and I. So like like 6 o'clock to 6:30, it's sort of pens down. Yeah, it does remind you of the Chewits monster, doesn't it, Trapshot? Yeah, I was trying to go down that route a little bit. Because I don't have like, I like Godzilla, but I'm not like a massive fan. And like, getting that stuff translated into my style is sometimes a bit weird. I was like trying to think when I was like drawing penciling this. I was like, what do I type into Google to try and like give me some inspiration? And I was like Godzilla, and then like the new Godzilla came up. And I was like, well, I don't want to draw that because it's too. I don't know. It looks too good. Like when I think of Godzilla, I think of the guy in the suit. So I was like, right, original Godzilla, and then like NECA did some toys apparently of the original black and white Godzilla toy. Sorry, suit as a toy. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. I'll just draw that. And then I was like, I kind of want it to look like it's from The Simpsons. And then I thought this old There's an old like trading card set I've got based on the Max, Sam Keefe's The Max, that was published by Image. Um, and Matt Groening drew, I think it was actually probably Bill Morrison who did the artwork. Um, they did an interpretation of the Max that I've always liked. It's sort of like a Homer Simpson-esque like style version of it. So he's popping a beer and he's belching. And I was like, well, that's what I want to kind of go for with this. So I'm having him eat a train. Yeah, Jake said something really important in the chat. If you're making comics or any sort of like artistic endeavor, it's so important to not let the work take over your life. I used to go all day until I passed out. Started forcing myself to get away from the desk at 5. Glad you're also keeping a schedule like that. 100%. I try and do pens down at 7 at the latest. It's weird because I work mainly for American companies, so 5:30 to 7 is when they're all starting to properly email. But you've just got to walk away. It's better now that I've got my own place. I've moved in with my fiance. Take a shot every time I mention my fiance. Excuse me. Where I've got a separate room to work in. So before I would work in my bedroom, but now I've got like a separate studio to work in. It makes it so much easier to just like leave. Like that is it for the day. I'll come back tomorrow. I have not seen Shin. Oh my god, I have not seen Shin Godzilla, Ken. Although it looks quite cool. Is it done in the style of like bloke in a suit, but with like late 2010s sort of like budget and CGI and stuff, like more like visual effects rather than like CGI. Talk us through the Shin, Ken. Oh, Ken doesn't know. Ken's let me down. Where's my man in the chair? Give me some hot Shin Godzilla facts. A great train scene though. Well, like this, like the one I'm drawing now, right? Oh. It's kind of what if Godzilla attacked and the response was to call a committee meeting. Okay. Cool. No, that does sound good. I think our mutual friend Clark has seen it and enjoyed it. Gav hasn't seen it himself. Well, you guys are letting me down. You're not. You guys are cool. Bureaucracy versus Keiju. Okay, that does sound pretty up my alley. Does look a lot like the Chewits monster, doesn't it? That's fine though. It sort of fits in with the sort of like 80s and 90s suggestions which I've been getting. Well, at least the ones I recognise. I got a lot of suggestions which I just didn't know what they were. For the fan art, so I was a bit like, I don't know what this is. So I would like to draw this thing, but I don't know what it is. I couldn't be bothered to look it up. Okay, cool. So that's the top tier done. Probably close that. We don't need that. Cool. So it's Alf time. Oh, it's done in mocap. Oh, cool. All right. Okay. Thanks, Gav. Well, I found out the other day that The Mandalorian is all done on green screen, which crushed me a little bit. I thought it was all done in like real sets, and then my friend Clark sent me a link saying, no, they did it all in something called Stage Create or something. I don't know. Oh, and no spoilers for Mandalorian because we're not up to date yet. But I've got to say, it's quite good. As someone who had sort of checked out of Star Wars because I got so sick of all the politics around it. Not the. Ah, right. Now Jake says they project their background live on screens around them. Right. Okay. Okay. Cool. I thought it was like a green table. It's like the modern version of rear projections that Kubrick used. Awesome. Right. That's cheered me up a little bit. I just when I think about Star Wars, sometimes I think about how sad Ewan McGregor was when he got cast as like Obi-Wan, and then he just turns up on set and it's just green screen, and then like how all the prequels were like real sets and stuff. Yeah, that's right. I feel sorry for Ewan McGregor. They had the scene rendered live in Unreal Engine. That's a video game thing, isn't it? That's the Doom thing, right? Oh, I think JQ asked earlier about if I was into Animal Crossing. Well, I don't get it. I don't quite understand the game. So I pumped loads of hours into Stardew Valley, and then I just at one point was like, "What am I doing? What is the game?" And I never went back to it. Yeah, see, I think I would enjoy Animal Crossing. I saw a comment on a Facebook group, one of the Nintendo Facebook groups, that said, because someone essentially posted, "I'm not sure that Animal Crossing is for me. Should I get it just to give it a go?" And someone was like, "It's $60 is a lot to spend on FOMO." And I think that just summed it up for me. I was like, "Oh right, okay." Is nobody in your house playing it? Well, it's just me and my lady, and so no. It seems like Chores, the video game. I do like mopping the floor. But maybe I want to be like, you know, when I play a video game, I want to play as the Spider-Man. And not someone who digs a hole. I don't know. Alf is really fun to draw. And I remember watching Alf as a kid, but I've got no Alf stories to tell other than... Oh! I did get a pack of Alf trading cards from my good friend Sarah. You can see them. I've kept them and they're right behind me now. Because I do love trading cards. Okay, let's see that. Yeah, but Alf is so weird. You try and explain Alf to kids today and you're like, it was when sitcoms could do basically anything. So there was like an alien who lived with a family and he ate cats. Yeah, they're cool. I quite like old trading cards. I did think... I got really obsessed with the idea of like making my own. But it's really hard to find a printer who will not only print the cards but do the wax paper as well. Did Alf have like a catchphrase? Because every sitcom around at that time had a catchphrase, but I remember so little about Alf. Gav says it's "Ha, I kill me." Woof. Okay. And then Trapshot says I don't remember him having a specific catchphrase. Yeah, I think "Ha, I kill me" isn't like the don't have a cowman equivalent. I think I'm done. I think I'm done with Alf. God, getting through these. I did 2 hours the other day. Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff. The good stuff is not me drinking 2 different drinks. It's it's steamed hams, which I watched whilst I was drawing this, and I loved, and obviously was doing like the bits. And Robin came in, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I don't think she quite gets The Simpsons. I show her so much stuff that I just crack up watching that I feel like I've set it too high, maybe. Like, whatever the reaction is going to be, it's not my, like, howling cackle. So we started watching The Simpsons together, and I was like, "Oh, let's start at season 3 because it's when it starts getting good." And like, it's weird rewatching them, and you kind of realize how kind of mean like Bart and Homer are. There's some episodes where like they learn a lesson or whatever. But I was like, you kind of have to like not explain it, but go like, "Oh, we're not supposed to be like rooting for Homer when he does this stupid stuff. We're supposed to be like, I don't know, not against him, but like they're not the moral, upstanding citizens. Like, if anything, like Marge and Lisa are like the heroes of the show, and season 3 is still kind of in that kind of like mean era of the show." So when we got Disney Plus, we just started watching like the hits. Oh mate, get me on a Simpsons comic. Get Bongo Comics back up and running. Bongo did, yeah. It was a few years back. Um, just out of the blue, they just shut down. I'm going to swing the canvas. I think it was maybe near the time where Fox got sold to Disney. I'm not sure if that was a factor. Um, but Bill Morrison left. Um, from what I hear, Bill Morrison was the only person who was really um, not keeping the lights on, but he was the one that was driving the momentum. So when he left, I don't think Groening could be bothered with it. I think because Groening was doing Disenchantment at the time, so he was pretty busy, like essentially doing 2 shows. But why they haven't like set up a Boom or something, I don't know. Or Marvel. It's a shame because Bongo did some really great comics. I've been getting a few recently. If you've not checked out the Radioactive Man comics, they're really a lot of fun. What they do is they take an era of comics and then they do like a sort of Radioactive Man version of that era. So the first 6 issues, because they do in 2 miniseries, the first issue was like a Superman pastiche from the 40s. The second is like, the Marvel boom of the 60s. They're battling hippies and stuff like that. And then they go into like the Watchmen stuff of the 80s and then like the Image revolution of the 90s. But it's fun to see that stuff sort of like Simpsons-ified. Oh, I've got a new Weezer song playing. We'll skip that. From the Frozen soundtrack? Rivers Cuomo is not that hard up for money, is he? Do I remember the Bart Simpson comics? I do, but I never got them. I thought they were... I thought they were too kiddie-ish. I got the Bartman ones, for adults. But like, I think they got up to like issue 100 and something with the Bart Simpson comics. A fan who who I chat to quite a bit, called Sam, has hit me up with some of the original like Bongo stuff. So I've got some Itchy and Scratchy comics coming. Not to brag. But I had all that stuff and it just all disappeared. I don't know where it went. I know, we were kids when they all came out, yeah. I remember getting them. But I would only find like random issues. So I'd get like issues like 1 to 3, and then I wouldn't find a 4. But I'd get a 5, 6, a 10. Maybe I could get a career doing Simpsons fan art on Instagram. I could do knockoff enamel pins and some patches. I saw there's one guy on Instagram who will remain nameless, who I do not know how he's managed to get away with this for so long, to the point where he now has like cardboard stands at conventions advertising like his essentially his Simpsons knockoff merch, which I do. I enjoy some Simpsons knockoff merch, but I'm just like, how have Disney not shut this down yet? He's got like cardboard cutout versions of like Homer, but as David Harbour from Stranger Things. And I don't know why Disney/Fox just don't hire these people to just do merch for them, because all the Simpsons merch kind of sucks. No, it's not a Leftorium. It's oh, I can't remember the guy's name. He draws on an iPad. You know, that narrows it down. Maybe Fums something? Fums 1? That arm is way too short. God, it's so much fun drawing The Simpsons. Yeah, it might be something to do with his turnover as well. I drew a Zoidberg? I don't remember drawing a Zoidberg. Was it a commission? No. Maybe. Oh, I'd like to see that again. Slash, maybe not, because I hate all my old drawings. Okay, new layer. Ah, okay, cool. Did ask to get. Sorry, did ask for a. Sorry, someone asked me for a Futurama commission the other day, which could be cool. I've got to get back into the commission game. Yeah, if you do dig it out on, sorry, if you do dig it out, Jakey, tweet me and I can retweet it if it's good. If it's not, I won't retweet it. I did find loads of my old "Love the Way You Love" artwork the other day, and it just went in the bin. I kept some of it, but I was quite happy for that to be recycled. Cool. Right. Okay. I think we're nearly there. Just got to draw a Garth. Might do the zip tones on here as well. It is a 70s Garfield, because, like, drawing Garfield is essentially, like, what? Turn off post correction. Yeah, it's essentially what? Is that a Garth? Yeah. I was like, I want to draw 70s Garfield. Garfield was the one I got the most of, request-wise. That and Count Duckula, weirdly. I used to go on holiday with my parents, obviously, when I was little. We used to go to like a Butlins or like a Pontins with a caravan park. And in the gift shop, I can't remember which one it was, they would sell like Garfield paperbacks. And I used to devour them with my little pocket money that I'd saved up. They were like little pocket books, about A5, maybe A6 in size. I remember one year we went and I spent so much money in the arcade playing the Simpsons arcade machine, the side-scrolly fighty one where you have to rescue Maggie, that I essentially blew most of my allowance in the first day. And then I discovered that there were comics in the gift shop, and I was furious with myself. Credit to my parents though, they didn't buckle when I asked for like more money. They were like, "Nope, you have spent it, and you have to learn from it." I think I was just putting pounds in rather than 20p's. I don't think I quite understood what arcades did. Like a pound gets you four games, and I was just like throwing pound coins in. Crazy. All those Garfields I could have got. I had to get rid of them like a few years back because I read them so much the glue and the spine just came away. Look at this dum dum. Garfield gets such a bad rap from like it's so looked down upon, probably with some good reason. Sorry, spinning the canvas. Um, but I feel like it's so many people's gateway into comics. Uh, if Gavin had all the money, he'd probably ask for a My Hero Academia commission. Well, that is again that's something I've heard of, have not watched or read. I hear it's really good though. It's a bit like it's a superhero manga, isn't it? It's like what if a manga did superhero comics? The designs look really cool. I see a lot of it at the MCMs. Ah, comic conventions. I don't know if I miss comic conventions, but I definitely miss going comic shopping. It's basically Japanese X-Men. Yeah, which I'm all about. I love the X-Men. Well, I mean, I love older issues of the X-Men. Although House of Ten and Powers of X were pretty good. But then Marvel were like, oh, cool. If you like that, here's 35 X-Men comics a month now. Oh, I'm good, thanks. Trapshot grew up with Beano and Dandy and Garfield. I think we had the same comic upbringing. Probably throw the Simpson comics in there as well. And newspaper comics. I know Garfield is a newspaper comic, but my parents used to read the Daily Mirror. And we had like Andy Capp in there. What was the... Not Hagar the Horrible, it was one that was a bit similar to that. And I'm getting confused with Gru the Wanderer, which is not a newspaper comic. A Man Called Horace, that's it. A cowboy. I used to cut them out and stick them in like a book, similar to what I was showing you earlier with the Chloe Noonan stuff. I don't know if I like that. Just happened to casually look up what Garfield's feet looks like. I'm thinking way too much over this. I don't think Jim Davis gave this much thought about Garfield's feet. It just don't make any sense. Okay. That seems too far forward. Someone says Garfield wasn't a well-designed character. Let's move that back. Okay, yeah, that'll do. Cool. Thanks, Jakey. Yeah. Well, looking at those old Garfield originals, there is a lot of like strangeness to the line. It's not that slick line that we've gotten accustomed to. I do wonder what made him go down that route of like. I guess it must have been merchandise, mustn't it? No, I don't know. You do as an artist, you do streamline your shapes the more you draw. I remember when I was drawing Chloe Noonan, I think by the fourth or fifth issue, like she was so like compact compared to the sort of lanky style I originally drew her in. Cool. Well, there we go. I think I've got time. Yeah, I can go through till 6. Right, let's try some screen tone. This might look crap on the screen, so apologies for that. I absolutely love the screen tone tool on Procreate, Clip Studio. I'll get those right one day. Before, I would just be like, you can do it on Photoshop, it's not as easy as this though. Like, I'd be making like I'll be essentially making a new file with in a bitmap to then copy and import it, because the tones are slightly wrong if you do it on the filter in Photoshop. But on here, it's such an easy thing to do. You've just got to be careful that it shows up on screen, because the smaller you make the dots, the less they're going to show up and they're shrunk. James is into the Beetlejuice. Thanks, James. What about my Peter Parker? It's not Ditko enough, probably, for you. I did draw some Ditko versions. I was telling Robin about how grumpy and like angry and mean Ditko used to like draw Peter Parker. I want a really light tone for Garfield. Yeah, perfect. What I love about the tone layer is that you can essentially use the brush with it as well. So you can just sort of draw like that and it will still make tones. But what I really love is that if you were to draw a circle like that, in theory it wouldn't work with the paint bucket because it's got open area, right? But it still does it. Bring that back. Cool. It really makes me chuckle every time I even think about steamed clams. There's that slightly darker one. Is it that one? Is that going to be? No, probably needs to be a bit darker. Let's do Alf. Maybe darker. Yeah, so it'll be offset against Garfield. But I've got to watch that layer. Yep. Bring that back. Yeah, I do like it that he was so super mean, and then they get like Romita Junior, no, Romita Senior in, sorry, and then he's like, "Hey, I'm Peter Parker the hunk." This lot were a good suggestion. Well done to everyone who did a little tweet with who you'd like me to draw. These have been super fun to do. Even old Garth, but especially steamed hams. Let's go 30. Let's go quite dark. Yeah. That's quite big. Yeah, no, too big. Oh, cool. I know what you mean about trading cards here, Jakey, because they just remind me of trading cards so much. This layout. Cool. Yeah, no, happy with that. I'm not sure if. I'm not sure. I'll give him the light one. Is it that one? Yeah, it's the Garfield layer. I really want to do trading cards. As like a niche sort of like maybe for like a Kickstarter or something. I feel like it's a lot to you've got to like print a lot to make it worth your while. Sorry, I was thinking. Can I get that thicker? No, smaller. Yeah, 30. Oh, woof. Sorry for the the attack on the screen. Just trying to get some variety in the background. Cool. James has said, yeah, talking about Ramita Senior and Ditko's the difference in their Spider Men or their interpretations of Peter Parker. Ramita was told to draw him like Ditko, but was seemingly incapable of not drawing a good-looking man. Yeah, So it is such a change. Because I was like googling like Ditko Peter Park, and he's just so super scowly. It's almost as if like it's just not the Parker we know, but it's got such a great charm to it. Because they really lent into like the fact that he was like bullied, and but I think by the time Ramita takes over, isn't he like friends with like everyone? I really need to reread or even just read those those old strips, but part of me doesn't want to go anywhere near those recolours that they do in like the new collections and stuff. And then the other part of me can't afford the original issues. Cool. Right. So we're nearly going to wrap up. Is it that one? It's that one. God, these were a lot of fun. Let's see if I can show them all off. There we go, great. So, how does that look on there? Yeah, that looks good. So we've got Beetlejuice, Peter Parker, Godzilla, Alf, Steamed Hams, and Garfield. I think I might have. Is it going to be that one? Yeah, it's the old version of it. You can see the original one that I did on my Twitter, I guess, which is at Marc Ellaby. Thank you for watching. If you've not followed me, if you don't mind, give me a follow. I'm trying to get up to, I guess, 50 followers. When I do that, I can start doing a bit more on Twitch, including monitorizing it. I don't know. So I'd like to do that. I'm going to be streaming on Tuesdays and Thursdays, around about 4, half 4. Yeah, for the foreseeable future. These are fun. I know I said I'd do it whilst we're all in lockdown. I don't think the lockdown's going to end anytime soon, so I'll carry on doing them for as long as I can. So yeah, thank you for watching. Hit that follow button, and hopefully see you on Tuesday. Have a good weekend and stay safe.